Hey Fin fans, fun fact. From 1995 on, Vic Fangio's defense ranked in the top half of the league 15 times. But his defense is also ranked in the bottom half of the league 10 times. What happened and what position players does Miami need to make Vic Fangio's scheme work? We're getting after that right now. Dolphin fans, it's Jacob Knobloch here. I figured I'd make this video before the start of my workday. And what I wanted to go over and what want to talk about is Vic Fangio. And if you haven't watched or you haven't listened to the Locked On podcast with Kyle Krabs or the Travis Wingfield Drive Time podcast through the Miami Dolphins, please go and watch those or listen to those. They're great resources to learn more about Vic Fangio and his scheme. But today I wanted to point something out that I found out yesterday. And so what I did is I went back into Vic Fangio's career and I broke down his everywhere where he was either a defensive coordinator or assistant defensive coordinator. He had a stop at the Ravens where he was the linebackers coach, or the assistant linebackers coach. And I wanted to show you, or at least explain, if you go and look back through his defenses and scoring defenses throughout the years, the early years he did not have much success. He did have some success with the Carolina Panthers, and this is statistically because, of course, the NFC Championship game and several other accomplishments along the way. However, his defenses never really ranked, past like the middle 15 or so, previous to his stop with the Ravens. And I wanted to explain why and what I saw with that. And even though he had very successful teams towards the end of his tenure with Carolina, which was one of his first stops as being a defensive coordinator, I wanted to explain his at least his adjustment to his defense and why his defense became much more valuable later on. So I broke down every single roster that he had or he was able to have under him being a defensive coordinator. So we actually started off with the Carolina Panthers in 1995. They ranked 8th in 1995, and in 1996 they ranked 2nd. In 97 they ranked 15th. In 98 they ranked 17th. And I'm reading off my notes here because there's no way that I would be able to actually remember this. But then I broke down his 1996 roster and in what positions had Pro Bowl and or All-Pro caliber players. So in 1996, he had a left outside linebacker, Kevin Green. He had a Pro Bowl and an All-Pro, as well as inside linebacker Sam Mills, Pro Bowl and All-Pro. Lamar Lathan, and excuse me if I butcher these names. Right outside linebacker, and left cornerback Eric Davis. Now, I want you guys to remember those positions because you're going to see a lot of repetition. But if you also notice, he had a Hall of Famer in Kevin Green, a Hall of Famer in Sam Mills, and I'm not sure about the other ones. 97, he had no Hall of Famers, no Pro Bowlers. 98, he had Kevin Green as a Pro Bowl. 1999, he had 0 All-Pros or Pro Bowlers. 2000. Now we're going to go into the Colts. So these are the Colts years. Colts in 1999 ranked 17th. In 2000 they ranked 15th, and in 2001 they ranked 31st, which was actually last in the league at that time. So having said that, in 1999 he had no Pro Bowlers or All Pros. In 2000, nothing. In 2001, nothing. And he still was able to manage an average defense with below average talent. So now let's go into 2002 when he was with the Texans all the way through 2005. 2002, left defensive end Gary Walker, left cornerback Aaron Glenn. They both had a Pro Bowl. In 2003, there was no one, and in 2004, no one, and in 2005, no one. So he didn't have anyone else to help him out outside of that 2002 year where they ranked 20th, which was actually not even his highest year ranking for the Texans. His highest year was ranking in his third year with the Texans in 2004. Now let's go into the Ravens, right? Ravens ranked 2006 first, 2007 22nd, 2008 third, and 2009 third. Now, let's go over who was on the Ravens at that time. In 2006, he had right defensive end Terrell Suggs, who had a Pro Bowl, left inside linebacker, chicken scratch over here. So, right linebacker Bart Scott, left cornerback Chris McAllister, and free safety Ed Reed. Now, you have... Okay, so remind you at the time, Ray Lewis is on the roster. In 2007, Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, Pro Bowl and All-Pro. That's a middle linebacker and a free safety. In 2008, you had Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, and Ed Reed. That's that right outside linebacker. And Terrell Suggs, he did do a lot of that hybrid stuff, but he was a pass rusher for sure. He definitely got his sacks. 2009, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Haloti Ngata, left defensive end. And if you watch Haloti Ngata, he played all over the line. He was a massive human being. Now let's go to 2011. Right? So now 2011, he was in San Francisco. This also was an absolutely loaded roster. So in 2011, he had right defensive end Justin Smith that had an All-Pro and a Pro Bowl. He had left inside linebacker Navarro Bowman, who had an All-Pro at that time. Right inside linebacker Patrick Willis, which is also like the middle linebacker. You know, yeah. All-Pro and Pro Bowl. Left cornerback Carlos Rogers. He had a Pro Bowl. Free safety Deshaun Goldson. He had a Pro Bowl. These are 5 players on that roster, and his 2011 ranking was second in the league. And this is just in points allowed. I'm not breaking this down. But he had 5 players and two players with Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors. So then in 2012, where his defense also ranked second. In 2012, he had Justin Smith, Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis, Alden Smith, right outside linebacker Alden Smith, strong safety Dante Whitner, and free safety Deshaun Goldston. That's 6 players and 4 players with both AP honors and Pro Bowl honors. 2013, very much the same thing. He had three players, a lot of the usual suspects. But if you start to notice, there's a pattern in the players that end up making the Pro Bowl and All-Pro from his time with San Francisco and the Ravens. Now, I truly think that Vic Fangio, being the Ravens assistant linebackers coach in 2006, right? Yeah, 2006 really taught him something to do with the scheme. He realized that in order, like Vic Fangio, what he can do extremely well is put the secondary in a phenomenal position in order to make plays. Now, if you also notice that left cornerback tends to be like Pro Bowl, All-Pro status in here. It's like, why? It was very much the scheme, right? I don't know if those guys were truly, playing better than what they were. I would like to see their careers and how they played out pre Vic Fangio and post Vic Fangio. So 2013, 3rd place. 2014, 5th place overall for San Francisco's defense while Vic Fangio was there. Now the Bears, 2015, they ranked 20th. 2016, 24th. Let's go over their Pro Bowlers and All Pros. 2014, free safety Anton Bethea. Hopefully I get that right. But he only had one Pro Bowl. 2015, nothing. 2016, nothing. 2017, nothing. They ranked ninth. I checked out the roster. There were a bunch of Pro Bowl snubs, including guys like Eddie Jackson, and this is the year before they got Khalil Mack. I think they got a rookie, either a rookie or a second year in Kyle Fuller. Then, like I said, they rounded it out with, or I'm sorry, it was Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson was a free safety in 2017 as a rookie. He got moved to strong safety after that year in 2018. Nobody got any Pro Bowl nominations in 2017, but they were due because in 2018 they had a left defensive end, Akeem Hicks, which actually, if you watch Akeem Hicks, he played a lot of the defensive tackle position because you had left outside linebacker Khalil Mack that signed, and he got the Pro Bowl and All-Pro. Akeem Hicks got the Pro Bowl. Kyle Fuller got an All-Pro and Pro Bowl. And Eddie Jackson got a Pro Bowl and All-Pro himself. The 2017 Bears ranked 9th. The 2018 Bears ranked number 1 in the league. And now you're starting to, you see that pattern there. So then with the Denver Broncos in 2019, 2020, and 2021, they ranked 10th, 25th, and 3rd in overall defense 2021. Now, I went all the way up to 2020 to do the Pro Bowls, but you could see the tendencies that were happening. I would actually like to see what Vic Fangio would say if someone asked him about his time with the Ravens and exactly what that taught him in terms of linebacker play within his Vic Fangio quarter half. With what I did in breaking down his rosters, you can see that, and in summation, really, left outside linebackers / defensive ends that got Pro Bowl or All-Pro nods were like 7 or 8 times throughout his career. And these are players, and these are per season. So, or not per season, but throughout his career, he had like 7 or 8 linebackers / left defensive ends that were mentioned in the Pro Bowl, All-Pro. Left inside linebackers were 5 and or 6 times. Right outside linebackers / right defensive ends. Pass rushers were mentioned 8 times. Left cornerback was mentioned a number of times. Free safety was mentioned a number of times. Middle linebacker was mentioned quite a bit. That could easily have been left inside linebacker, right inside linebacker as well. It just depended on the personnel that you had. And then strong safety was mentioned a couple of times, but this was very dependent on person. And a guy like Eddie Jackson that was a strong safety was actually a free safety. If you watch his game tape, he played the captain role. He played the captain of the defense very much in the way that I feel like Javon Holland plays for the Miami Dolphins, as well as so when you really get into this and kind of break this down, you can see why Vic Fangio would want to be on the Dolphins. I noticed that left outside linebackers that are really pass rushers, or these right outside linebackers that are really pass rushers. Well, what do we have? We have Jalen Phillips. We have Bradley Chubb. You had Akeem Hicks, who was a plug in the center in the Bears, and he was a Pro Bowler, and Christian Wilkins fits that role very nicely. You got guys like Ed Reed, Eddie Jackson, Justin Simmons, who was a Pro Bowl in 2020 under the head coach Vic Fangio, and of course right outside linebacker Bradley Chubb. Hey, look at that. That's kind of weird. So, all in all, and kind of to summarize everything, you can go down the list, and I would say we have everybody on the list except for, I would say, the weakness of the team would be the stand-up linebacker role. I would bet that in Vic Fangio's second year, after really finding out what he has on a baseline with this Miami Dolphins defense, he's going to go out and he's going to tell Mike McDaniel, hey, you got a loaded offense, and you might need some linemen to really get this thing solidified. But I'm gonna need the quarterback of my defense, and I need an All-Pro, Pro Bowl linebacker that's going to fly to the ball. Um, you know, kind of the Luke Kuechly-esque. Vic Fangio's 3 middle linebackers throughout his career was Sam Mills, Ray Lewis, and Patrick Willis. So, like, I'm not expecting that, but if you're talking about a guy who's instinctual and can go after the ball and just go and get it and play sideline to sideline, I do believe Jerome Baker can do that and can do that very well. However, I also think that if there's any position for him to thrive, it's going to be in the first year of this offense or in this defense. When guys like Xavier Howard says, "Hey, I feel like he's been number one everywhere he's gone," well, he feels that way for good reason, and it's true that he hasn't. However, he has always built off his system and always tweaked it and made it better. So that's Vic Fangio. I'm Jacob Knobloch. Thank you guys very much, and have a great day. Bye.